We have your Irish cottage, your Irish pub. Lovely Irish country pubs have open fire in the corner, and when you go in, there's nothing like the smell of the natural turf fire when you're just sipping on a whiskey or on a pint of Guinness. There's a phrase in Ireland that we call the home is where the heart is. We always relate home to the smell of the Irish turf. You've got the bicycle, stout pub, trad music of course, and the crack agus the Ceol, the village pub. And if you're a bit of a writer yourself, sure, why not personalise it, and you can put your name in here. So if it's Gertie's Irish Pub, we'll put up Gertie's Irish Pub. All you need is a good permanent black marker. And look, if you don't feel like going out to the pub for a pint, then that's grand. Sit down and have a cup of tea in your cottage right here. All you have to do is switch. The great thing is you don't need to move house. You just change the house on your mantelpiece. Maybe if you have one for the hall, one for the living room, and some of us aren't the pub going type, so we just prefer to have a little cup of tea in the cottage. This is lovely. This cottage couldn't be any more like my granny's. The half door, the two windows, one being the parlour and the other the bedrooms. And when I used to visit my granny's, it was in here we used to go all the time, into where the hearth is. And we'd sit down and she'd have the poker and she'd be leaning over it, having a cup of tea, and she'd be poking the fire, and those lovely red low flames that you get from a fire was just something you can never get unless it's a turf fire. And it really reminds me of home. We used to have a cook on TV in Ireland, Doreen Allen. Does anyone ever know her? And she used to say, here's one I prepared earlier. I love cookery programs. Meals are always ready on time. Here is two I prepared earlier. Enjoy the distinct smell of an Irish turf fire as the smoke wafts through the cottage chimney. Couldn't say it better myself. In Ireland we say that the home is where the heart is. And by owning this turf burning cottage, you reconnect with your Irish roots. The village pub. From behind the counter, she saw him shut the door to keep out the icy wind. With a nod of her head, she directed him towards the blazing fire. Sitting on the stool, he remembered how much he loved the smell of that turf smoke in his granny's cottage all those years ago. She put a glass of hot whiskey into his hands, and as the warmth thawed his frozen fingers, he looked into her eyes and he knew. Many memories are made in our old Irish pubs and our lovely Irish cottages. It's part of who we are.